Welcome to EMAC Regional 2021 podcasts. The show is dedicated to present research results of Polish scientists as authors or co-authors of papers presented during the Regional Conference of European Marketing Academy. The regional conferences are aimed to attract researchers interested in marketing issues, in changing and growing markets, and regarding a regional perspective. Project has been supported by the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange under the program Welcome to Poland. My guest is Filip Wójcik, author of paper presented during EMAC Regional 2021 conference under the title Helping Dwight: How Gamification Can Improve Corporate Social Responsibility Communication Effectiveness. First of all, thank you for agreeing to record this podcast. Your article has a very intriguing title. Where did you get this idea for your research?
For the research or for the title? Okay, so let's start with the research. It's broader. I was a very big fan of gamification since I've read a book of Paweł Tkaczyk, which is like the, let's say, father of gamification in Poland. Mm-hmm. And it was around when I was finishing high school and starting my studies. And after reading this book, I thought that's very interesting, but like 90% of that I've done during my scouting career, for like my scouting adventures. And I thought that it's very interesting how we can influence people, their motivation, how to, let's say, encourage very young people to, for example, make their beds, which I believe everyone who has anything to do with children knows how it's how it's difficult. So that came with gamification, and as it comes to CSR, corporate social responsibility, that's my let's say more academic interest that I gained during my studies.
Okay, so then the most important question, who is Dwight?
Dwight is the character from The Office show. Some people may know it, some still not, because in Poland it's not very popular show. Dwight, during the research, I needed some narration as a gamification mechanism, and I went with something that, as the research was about the problem of millennials adjusting to the workplace, I thought that narration should be in the workplace, not, for example, some fantasy dragons or sci-fi new planets, stuff like that. So I went with, and my program enabled me to add the GIFs with Dwight from The Office. I thought that this would be very good narration.
Okay, so you have already mentioned the main goal of your research, but maybe you just want to add something. So if you want, please add. Mm-hmm. But if not, could you please explain your research methods used in your study? Mm-hmm.
So I will add that I believe in very let's say simplifying the world, which means that talking about very complicated things, sometimes very difficult, with language that everyone will understand, and most of the recipients of the topic will have fun, maybe reading it or participating in. So gamification is very good mechanism in that. And as it comes to the research, I've done the questionnaire for the two groups, and one had gamification mechanisms. These were mostly narration with additional points, with, of course, feedback given by the points, and control group with non gamification mechanisms. Then I compared the results, how the recipients on the both groups responded to the questions regarding the text they were given, the perception of the problem, how they perceive the problem of adjusting millennials to the workplace, and how would they, if they would recommend the survey to a friend to let's say expand the viral marketing.
Okay, so what did you find in this experiments? Yeah.
Well, I found that I found the one thing I was very afraid of because on the previous research where I read a similar study, but on the environment issues, not some social ones. I found that probably the gamification can be not the best solution to communicate by those problems because they make them trivial. So
Okay, so this is not so for serious problems. We should use
yes,
just serious narration. Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main problem from my studies, which was shown from the previous. But I can get a spoiler alert that from my next studies, it's a little bit of hope. So, so it's not 100%, let's say, certain. But I found that the social relatedness, so wanted, let's say, the will to recommend this kind of survey was pretty good. So maybe gamification can help us use the CSR communication not to perceive the problem, but to spread our news.
So you have mentioned that you are a big fan of gamification. So can we say that this kind of result surprised you? That you are disappointed somehow?
Well, it would be too easy to get everything we want, but I'm not as maybe surprised, but I was motivated to look for why it doesn't work, and I can maybe go a little bit expand my research and because I already did, so I can I can speak about it. But if you take several mechanisms in particular groups, then you can get different results, and that's very interesting. That, for example, the mechanisms that work on our, for example, need of competence, so points, leaderboards, performance graph, stuff like that, that show that you're the best, answer the other needs, and also more can help us in a different way than, for example, social relatedness mechanisms like being a part of the group. So that is very, very interesting. That gamification is very wide subject, despite being very, very new. Let's say part of science.
Yes, absolutely. I think that gamification and also corporate social responsibility are the hottest topics in both research and business practice nowadays. Did this influence your choices as well? So, do you think that this is a topic very trendy at the moment and probably also very interesting for the practice?
Mm, maybe the hotness wasn't the wasn't the main factor, but what I like about both of those things, maybe because they are, as you said, very trendy, but also for another from another factors, is that you can put it like in any sector or in any company. It's not like, for example, only the banking sector or only retail sector or for example, only listed companies or only big companies or only government institutions. You can put it everywhere, and it's like really going on. So that's the beauty of it. That, for example, I can try something with like financial institutions, and then check if that is also correct for retail ones. And maybe this trendiness isn't the thing that let's say was the main spark. But I also work in sustainability consulting, so if it wasn't for the trendiness, probably I wouldn't know as much as I do because of my additional work. So.
Of course, it was very controversial question. Can you suggest any managerial implications of your research? For whom might your research findings be useful?
And that's a very good question because I believe the main people would be the investor relations people, for example, like responsible for investor relations, who or PR or marketing, like this kind of stuff, that mostly publish the data connected regarding regarding their corporate social responsibility. Maybe the people also who publish those kind of data who are not in those departments, but mostly I believe these kind of people, and maybe also some organizations who do it professionally, like marketing organizations, like PR, but like people organizations, but mostly marketing, PR, investor relations departments.
So, what can you tell them? That you shouldn't use gamification if you want to talk about serious issues?
Well, except for read my read my articles, I would tell them use the gamification wisely, because it's very, as you said, it's very trendy. It's very trendy, very hot topic, and people often use that. For example, we used gamification as it should be some kind of rewarding experience. We use gamification, and because they do it very without big concern, it's a problem, because it doesn't work doesn't work in the long term, and it's very difficult to use this kind of use gamification, well, let's say, at all, when you don't prepare yourself enough. When you, for example, we will give them points and they will be motivated. It doesn't work like that. You can, for example, buy any reward, like they will gain points and win, I don't know, a computer or a car or some stuff like that. But it doesn't work forever. Can work for a week, for a month, and then what? You will buy another car. So it's very important to use gamification wisely in terms of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
You should understand the recipients of your information, and also why you do it. You could spend more time thinking why and what to do, and then implementing it in practice.
Thank you for your answer. And what do you think about the cultural context of your study? You did your study in Poland, so do you think you would get similar results in the context of another country?
I believe that as it comes to gamification itself, I would probably I assume that I would I would have similar results, maybe a little bit different, because, for example, in some countries there are more, let's say, players, like in normal games. So they
Which countries, for example?
I would tell that USA, for example, would be a very good example.
And what about Korean people?
Well, Asia market is very different than from ours. So I would say that Korea, but China would be different in other ways. So it's very interesting in terms of that. But as comes to my research, I would believe that the bigger difference would be in the CSR communication part, because it also comes from the perception of the CSR, ESG, let's say this corporate social responsibility itself. Because, for example, if we'd done this study in Germany, I would assume that 90% of the people could know more about sustainability than in Poland. So that's the main factors, I believe, in my studies. So this part of, let's say, country and culturalization, I would believe that as the bigger sustainability awareness is, the more different will be the results.
Okay. What do you think? Aren't younger respondents more likely to accept this form of communication? I mean, gamification and also CSR communication.
That is very interesting, because there were many studies about like how younger people or older people react, but the average age of the gamer, like gamer in real games, it's 34 years old, as I could remember. So it's not like only children are playing; the adults are playing as well. Maybe this part of CSR, as you mentioned, could make a difference, because the younger people really they learn faster about the sustainability. They are more let's say, engaged in the topic, but also as it comes to the regulations, it could be interesting also that because the regulations are coming, like CSRD, for example, the taxonomy, as it comes to reporting. So it would be obligatory for companies to disclose some kind of data regarding CSR. So I believe that maybe these older ones are the ones who are about to be motivated, not the younger ones who are already into it. So that could be the case also.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see it. Yeah, in the near future. So there is a growing awareness of corporate social responsibility, I think. People expect more and more companies to care about more than just profit. So what do you think, in your opinion, will CSR dominate companies' communication in the near future?
Well, in case of what we mean by dominating, but yeah, as I said, the regulations are coming if you would like it or not, and the company will have to disclose this kind of data. So the question is how they're gonna do it, and I believe if they will do it properly, like on the same level as normal investor relations, it would be very beneficial for the companies. And if not, well, times will show us.
Okay, so you have also already mentioned that you plan continue this research topic. Could you please tell something more, if you, of course, want to say something more about it?
Yes,
Yeah?
I already told my I already had a presentation on that topic. So it's not a big secret. But my my next research is about to grouping the mechanisms in according to self-determination theory into groups for the need of competence, the need of autonomy, and the need for social relatedness, and to answering the kind of same problem with my previous research, but with those groups of mechanisms. So we don't check if gamification will help communicating, but which kind of gamification can help us. And that is very interesting, that different kind of gamification mechanisms can give very varied results.
Okay, so do you know of any examples of gamification being used in corporate communication? Of course, in your opinion, the best practices.
Mm-hmm. I know I met it was because it was in one article. It was, I believe, Kraft and Heinz trivia game. I don't remember exactly, because I also didn't let's say I only read about it. But the best thing you can assume from this kind of communication is that it's not let's say attacking you, because for example mostly the communications we see from the companies, advertisements on our I don't know, social media, internet website, like this, attacking you from the every angle, and by good gamification advertisement, good advertisement in general, but gamification is very helpful in that. Is that you want to be engaged, like you want to collect those coins, those points, those whatever you're gaining, for example, or you want to log into the platform, or you want to check what's in there. So it's very and also the kind of information you inform about when you got a higher cause, like in CSR, it's very easy to for the recipients to feel very good about that. It's not like, for example, you're advertising I don't know, maybe cigarettes, that for example, if someone doesn't smoke, he thinks, okay, that's bad, I don't want to take a part of this. The CSR is pretty much common goal for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much for a very interesting conversation, and also thought-provoking about gamification. I wish myself and you only great games, also in the context of CSR. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You are listening to EMAC Regional 2021 podcasts. My guest was Filip Wójcik, author of article Helping Dwight: How Gamification Can Improve CSR Communication Effectiveness.